Welcome back to the 8:30 show. I would like to talk about episode 2, tired of the grainy videos that we did back in 2019. And we talked about UFOs and how no one has a good picture of a UFO or any good footage. It's all grainy and really, really bad.
Yeah. That was before the pandemic when we recorded that.
Yeah.
Just audio only, no video at the time.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's what we had was all these grainy video footages were coming up. When people would post them, and it's like, can't you get a better photo or
Well, with
video?
the cameras that we have now, of course, yeah, you would think that there would be better footage, but now they're crystal clear.
Right? Enhanced.
Okay, they are everywhere. Everyone is seeing them. We've even spotted some unidentified flying objects in the air, and our video was shit
Yeah.
because it was at night. And
Super zoomed
so,
in.
yeah, so you know how that is. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we did a grainy video.
but a lot of people have been posting different videos of different types of aerial phenomenon is what they call it now.
And
UAPs.
cryptids.
That's the new name. UAPs. When I heard that the first time, I was like, "What?"
UAPs, ATIP.
Yeah, they all.
I keep it original. It's UFO. It's all unidentified.
Yeah,
Whenever the
it's
government wants
unidentified.
to reclassify it so they can continue their secret program, is whatever. But everybody knows it's a UFO,
Yeah,
unidentified.
and they're not called aliens. They're extraterrestrial.
Hmm.
That's what
Hmm.
they're called now. But we all know. We all
Or
know.
what did they call it in Transformers? Biological entity, non-biological entity.
Whatever. Then there's so many theories out there about UFOs, aliens,
Hmm.
extraterrestrials, the fact that they're here and that they're running our planet or they have a hand in our planet, and there's the men in black, and there's oh yeah, there's Stargate. Like, that's
Yeah,
pretty cool. That to
yeah.
me, if
All the
if
different gates.
yeah, that they've found and have disappeared magically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting theory. And also, my favorite, my absolute favorite is Hollow Earth. I think that's just a crazy, way out, amazing story. Um,
You know
and,
what's crazy about that? I don't mean to cut you off, but
no,
what's
it's cool.
crazy about that is the Godzilla versus King Kong movie. They do Hollow Earth
Mm,
in that, and that was pretty cool to see that these type of conspiracy theories are also still in mainstream pop culture with movies.
yeah. Well, going back to the UFO thing, they said that this was going to happen,
Hmm.
that the whole pandemic thing, and it was like, let's distract them. UFOs are real and aliens are real, and
Yeah.
yes, it's real, and declassified this and declassified that, and
Here's the ungrainy videos.
yeah, here's the legit shit. And everybody's like, we don't believe it. Like, we believe it, but we already knew
Hmm.
this is nothing new. But what are you doing? What are you actually doing? Nobody really cares anymore. Back when I was growing up, again, I'm going to go back to how ghosts weren't real until there's proof.
Yeah.
Now there's proof. So for me back then, it was like far fetched, Marvin the Martian. And it was so far fetched. It's just, but it's not anymore. And some of those videos I feel are accurate, and they're not any kind of, what is it? What's the new technology for videos? I can't think of the name right now.
AI generated.
Yeah, it's everybody's getting good at
AI
making,
generated.
well, just making videos and special effects, and
Hmm.
you don't know what's real, you don't know what's fake, and whatever. And it's hard to believe, but at the same time I believe it. Like, how is it that we are the only beings in this galaxy, universe, whatever? It's
Well,
not. I feel it's not possible. We are not that special. I feel that we're. I maybe we are from this planet. We are from here, but
mhm.
I don't feel that everybody is from here and they landed and they took over like a parasite.
What is it? The Krolls from Marvel.
Yeah.
They're behind the scenes, but they have on disguises to look like us. But
Yeah, it's
I do have
crazy.
to say this. I do like that these things are being more and more put out there. The government is acknowledging them for the first time in forever and a
Well, it's
day.
it's possible that they have to because they know what's coming because
Mhm.
something's coming. I keep saying something's coming, but it hasn't.
Well,
I mean,
I
different things have come.
I also think it's the televised world that we live in now, where
Yeah.
everyone is recording. You see things in the back of people's videos, and then or you see they'll
Yeah.
put up videos, and then they'll say like that wasn't there when I recorded it. I don't know what that is.
Excuse me.
So you see all these videos like that. Um,
Yeah, that's interesting. Those
so it's
videos of like something walking past them and they don't even realize, and that's crazy.
well, like
It's
that one that
interesting.
we saw where the guys were, it was what I think three or four
Poor
guys,
guys.
and they were all podcasting,
Hmm.
and the guy in the lower left frame, something walks by, and they're like, "What was that? What was that?" And it's like, I'm here by myself. Don't do that. Don't
Yeah.
play with me.
And that's happened a few times where somebody's gaming and something in the background and all of a sudden doors start slamming, and
Hmm.
it was some kid that did that and he like freaked out.
Yeah, I don't know why people stay there. I'd be like, my Negro senses are tingling, so I'm out of here. You can have this place because I'm never coming back here. This place has now been
Well,
quarantined.
that's home. I mean, that's home. It's home.
Yeah, no. If I walk into the house and the lights are flickering and I see that the light switch itself is flickering, not just the lights. Like I think if it's the lights flickering, there's maybe something wrong with the power. But if I see the switch itself flickering or the door opening and closing, yeah,
Yeah.
you can have this house. I'm done. It's for sale. Goodbye.
I don't know.
Toodaloo.
I might go get me a priest and see if I can
Yeah.
exorcise the demons.
Toodaloo.
I want to talk about a book that I came across called UFO of God by Chris Bledsoe.
Yeah.
Very interesting book. Uh, it's it's about this guy who started his own construction company. He did construction with his dad, and he was just a regular guy. And he was doing great, and he was building homes, and he was making great money, and then was abducted. And after that, his world just collapsed, and he's been visited by these entities for years, and they talk to him and they see him and follow him, and I don't want to say stalk because it's not. He's open to it.
Yeah.
And he's posted videos, or actually his daughter has. I follow her on TikTok. Punch his name in there, Chris Bledsoe, in the search bar, and she'll come up. And she has posted videos and explained some of the stuff that they put in the book, images and whatnot. But it's actually a very interesting story about this man's life, and not only his life, but the things he's experienced with these extraterrestrials. And it's been acknowledged so much that he's had a meeting with Congress behind closed
Hmm.
doors. Like, what are you discussing? And he's gone to NASA where no one really gets an invitation to. And Discovery allegedly they did a TV whatever, like kind of like a series about him, not a series but a episode or something about his story, trying to get him out there. And he says it in the book that they really did a number on him and his family. It was very they were treated poorly, and I felt bad. I felt bad because they treated them so bad, and the Discovery show that they did made him out to look like he's crazy, like it's
So
not true.
so what? So from your perspective, what happened with this guy, Chris Bledsoe, and how do you? I mean, like I'm sure you read the book because I haven't heard about it. I'm only hearing it from you.
Well, it's interesting because we watched a show. No, it was, well, yeah, it was a show. It was a series by Steven Spielberg called Taken,
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
and it was the way he described a lot of the events that happened to him. It's kind of like how it happens for one of the characters in that show, where he comes across this one guy every single time with the like handlebar mustache, and
Hmm.
all of a sudden the circus is there and he's a part of the circus, and then all of a sudden this kid's abducted and he's being tested on and whatever.
Yeah,
And that's kind of what he went through, only his was owls. He would see like a giant owl, and that was them watching him. And he was married at a very young age, and his wife passed away on the way home, back home to him. I think there was a car accident or something, and she passed away, and he got there, and it was very sad or whatever.
sounds like the signs.
But before that had happened, he saw a sign. He saw an owl, and he doesn't know if it was like a warning to him or whatever.
Yeah,
So then, as time went on, he kept things kept happening where he's missing time. People are his son. He has a son, and his oldest son, I believe, and they had gone, I want to say, fishing or whatever, and it was getting late, and all of a sudden they couldn't find him for like 3 hours. And when he looked, like, it was like he blinked, and he was like, "What are you talking about?" And the son's like freaking out. He's like, "Where were you?" Like, pissed off, where
yeah,
were
yeah,
you?
yeah.
What were you
Yeah,
doing?
of course.
Like, we've been looking for you and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "I was here. Like, what are you talking about? I've
Hmm.
been here." And he's like, "No, you haven't." He's like, "We've looked for you everywhere." And slowly things started happening that would, like, he would get ill and they would put him on medication, but it
Hmm.
turned out the medication was making him sick, and he was just going through so much. And then the whole town, when the Discovery thing came out, that the whole town that he lived in, like, he was disgraced by that.
Ridiculed.
Yeah. And he would go to church but kind of not want to, because they all looked at him funny, and
Yeah.
which is so sad. Why do people do that? Like, I just don't get it. If that's what the man thought, just leave him alone.
I mean, I'm sure
I
he
don't see. I don't
was.
see. Hold on. I don't see how that harms you in any way. I don't see how that affects your life. He's not living in your house doing anything. He's living in his own home, providing for his own family, and he says something happened to him. Period.
Well, I'm sure the man was sane as far as speaking. You could tell a nut job from someone who's sane, who's gone through something, had an experience, someone who's dealing with schizophrenia. You know what I mean? But why would you still ridicule somebody? I don't know. It's not something I
Because
do,
people are
but
weird
whatever.
like that.
Yeah, people.
People are judgmental. I know
Yeah,
I'm judgmental than a motherfucker.
yeah, but I
So
don't. I don't think if somebody came to you and started explaining that they had some kind of paranormal, extraterrestrial experience, that you would be the one to ridicule them
no,
and
because
ask them, are they
okay,
crazy?
so let me tell you about a paranormal experience I had with someone else.
Mhm.
So I lived in LA, grew up in LA, and I was living in an apartment building. It was a duplex, and my aunt lived downstairs with my cousins, and we lived upstairs, me, my mom, my brother, and my sister. And my other cousins, another set of cousins, they lived like a couple blocks away, and they would come over because grandma was downstairs and she would take care of all of us.
Yeah. Okay.
So my sister had gotten us it. Back then it was like
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it was the
remember it.
90s, so we got that it, and she gave it to me. So I told my cousin, I was like, let's watch it. She's like, yeah, let's watch it, because it had been a TV movie. It wasn't in the theaters like now, but
Yeah, it was a mini series.
yeah, it was great though. For the time, it was
Wasn't
great.
it like 4 parts?
I No, it was 2 parts,
2-part miniseries.
or I don't remember. I don't, anyway. So we're up there, we're watching it, and she has a younger sister, and we're up there chilling, watching, and from the side, from our peripheral vision, we see someone jump from the hallway to the back of our love seat, and I saw it, and she saw it, and she calls out to her sister and tells her, I saw you. Get out from over there. I'm going to tell my grandma. And nothing. There was no response. And then I looked at her and I was like, what the hell? And I'm thinking I'm going to hear her laugh,
Yeah.
because she's younger. She was maybe, I want to say 6 or 7 at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm going to hear her giggle from behind the couch, because it looked like her. It looked exactly like her. And there was no way for us not to see her
Go
get
back.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, get out. Now we've seen where she was at, and there's no way of getting away from there. And so my cousin, she gets up, and she's angry because she's being ignored, because my younger cousin is ignoring her. And I'm like, oh, you're in trouble. My other cousin gets up, and she walks over angry, and she looks at me and she's like, there's nobody here. I was like, what? She's like, there's no one here. And we got up and left the house.
Yeah.
We went
I don't-
downstairs.
With the quickness, huh?
Yeah. And that happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and we've never discussed it. I've never brought it up to her. I think we maybe discussed it one time in our life, because we're not that close, but we were back then. And
Yeah.
but it happened, and it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So now when we tell the story, now it's the two of us telling this story. Now we both sound crazy. Now we're in cahoots telling this story.
Both of you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
With these crazy stories. But anyway, back to Chris Bledsoe. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Sounds very interesting. It kind of reminds me of the movie Fire in the Sky. I forgot the guy's name.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
It's Travis something. Where kind of when he got abducted, and when he returns, I think it was 5 days later or something like that, you know, he gets ridiculed as well.
Yeah. Yes, because
Well, you know,
God forbid you actually see some crazy thing that actually happened, and now you're a nut job. That's
Well-
why I
well, I mean,
Hold
it
on.
was part of the propaganda from
hold on.
Paperclip,
That's
from
why I
Operation
liked
Paperclip.
what's his Dennis Quaid in Independence Day, when they came and he was vindicated. I love when he feels vindicated finally. Like, look, like it's happening.
I had him
It's
question his own
real.
life.
Yeah.
Took him down this dark hole to
Like, he
alcoholism.
was an alcoholic, and he didn't want to work, and his kids had to be the adults and all of that, and it ended up being true. And even his kids looked at him like oh crap.
We were so wrong
It
about
was
you.
real. And it was sad that he died, but he died, for mankind.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's a story. But yeah.
Independence Day was a good one. I did not like the second one.
What was the other thing we were talking about, where you told me that these people that they're worshiping God, that they're worshiping an alien? I found that so interesting because of what I said in the previous podcast, where the Bible was written by man. I would believe it more if it descended from the skies. I'm being serious.
No, I
Like
get
if
you.
it just floated down from the heavens and landed, and yeah, and the light hits it,
The beams.
the beams, and yeah, I would definitely believe it. But man wrote that book.
So,
And hold on. And my thing about the Bible, and like I said before, is that it's full of stories of magical things, magical beings, and these gods, and they saw them descend from the heavens and speak to them from the heavens and all of that. And where's that magic now? Why aren't we seeing it?
so the whole thing I saw was with Billy Carson, and it was kind of a trip because I never really looked at it this way, from the perspective that he put it, where he talks about all these different stories from the Bible, and he's talking about how these all these stories are basically rooted into ancient texts, stone texts, not written down, and this is over different, I guess, civilizations, and each one of them is pointing back to like a, you know basically aliens. And as he's charting and doing this research on all this, he comes to the conclusion that what you're actually doing is worshiping an alien being, that is, but it's not really what you think it is.
Yeah.
And he puts it in the perspective of, if if an alien species came to a prehistoric civilization, from a civilization thousands of years ago, comes down with all this technology and is able to do these wondrous and miraculous things, it'll look like magic. It'll look like supernatural activity, and that civilization would worship them, as a god or gods, amongst them. But then and he also described, I forgot what the name of the tribe was. My research is so bad because I can't think about the tribe. If somebody hears it,
because we're unprepared as normal.
if somebody knows
Nothing
it,
new
go ahead.
here.
If our 2 subscribers know, go ahead and put that in the comments for us.
Thanks for following.
Well, anyway, what he's saying is this. Okay, so this tribe, of indigenous people, America came in, gave them spam and gave them some supplies, and then they left. Well, these people started worshiping that, and so they made makeshift planes and guns and this and that out of bamboo and stone and whatever they could, to try to get the sky gods to come back to drop down the supplies and to give them the supplies. And you can see that type of thing throughout all different civilizations, including us. If we were to go off to a distant planet that was habited by intelligent life like us, they would worship us like gods because our technology is so far advanced from what they're doing. I mean, if you're using sticks and stones and someone comes down in a spaceship, it's only a matter of thing. Yeah.
It's like a lighter.
And if you look at some of the stories in the Bible, they do mention stuff like that. So like, even in, I think, Jacob's ladder, that story, I think it has it, or Jacob's wheel, where it's a wheel in a wheel within a wheel within a wheel. So all this stuff is kind of, it has double meanings, but it also has some stuff where it's describing certain things. But when you look at it from a modern set of eyes, what they're describing is something totally not man-made, but man-made. You know what I mean? Extraterrestrial in nature. I just stuttered that shit out.
No,
Extraterrestrial.
Slurred. That was a slur, sir.
But so this is what Billy Carson is talking about.
That was very interesting.
And
when you said that to me, I was like,
And
Yeah.
so yeah, when he's talking about these things, kind of puts it into that perspective, and it's like yeah. And then the other thing is like he mentions
So
like
sorry.
what is it, the bumper sticker is not of this world. Well, if it's not of this world, then what is it? That's an alien.
Yeah.
We're of this world, so if it's not of this world, then it
Um,
has to be an alien.
I mean, we're of this world, but
I mean,
our
are we?
ancestors. But I feel that we are from this world. I feel that others are not.
Well, I feel
They
that.
got here and like parasites, they spread.
Well, I feel that there was a time in our history, in human and mankind's history, before it was written, that we were probably manipulated somehow. I don't think that I don't feel that genetic evolution just happened,
No, I get that.
all
I
of a
totally
sudden there
get
was a
that.
spark of genetic growth, and then from where
No, yeah.
there's no like there's really no real trail of that. I mean, and then you have at this point other discoveries happening with they're finding older and older
Yeah.
archaeological digs of of cultures. Göbekli Tepe is one of them. That is much older than what they're saying. They're starting to change the date of the pyramids and the Sphinx. So it's kind of interesting what's going on. But yeah, no more grainy videos. Thank God.
In regards to what you just said, and I feel that I think I've said this before. I don't know where I've said it. It may be just us talking, where I said that this planet has had civilizations on it over and over and over and over again, and it's buried deep in the earth, and we keep digging and digging and digging, and of course we're going to find these civilizations and be like, oh my god, they're older than what we thought. And it's just going to keep happening because there's no way that there wasn't anything going on this planet before us, or before the oldest of what we've discovered, scientists have discovered as of yet, or as of late. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it's I feel like we're just layers like an onion. There's layers and layers and layers, and we are still digging, and they're still gonna find older shit, and it's gonna be like, oh look,
Yeah, well,
this is before Jesus Christ, and this is, you know, whatever. They're just layers and layers, and they keep saying, well, it's not possible. I hate when they say it's not possible.
everything's
I don't
possible until it's
I don't like
impossible.
when anyone in the scientific community says it's not possible or impossible. When I hear that, obviously it's possible because it's happened or it's happening. They talk about that when they see certain stars acting a certain way in the
So
galaxy. Hold on. They say that in, when they're acting up in the galaxy, and they're like, it shouldn't be doing that. But it is. So where's your math for that?
well,
Like
I think everything is possible until it is proven to be not possible.
I'm still on
Um,
the whole thing of, we're barely scratching the surface on math. We're barely scratching the surface on a lot of stuff, and we are just the show. They come and they sightsee, and that's what the thing we saw in the sky the other night. That's what that was. Observing us walking our dog, and look at these morons. We
let's
have
flash these
robots
lights.
that do that for us. It picks up our little whatever kind of what they consider a pet. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I like I said, I think that everything is possible until it's proven
Yeah.
not possible, and I don't think that some of the things that they're saying that is not possible, I just feel like we don't have the technical capability to prove the possibility of it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of painting with a broad brush, and I that I don't know, I don't like. I think everything has a possibility. If it can be done, I mean, they thought cell phones were impossible. You know,
I
they,
think
they
anything is possible. I think anything is possible. That's why I keep such an open mind about a lot of stuff. I
mhm.
mean, I understand that I feel a certain way about things, and that's how I feel about it. But I do understand the other side of it, and that's what other people believe, and that's what they believe. What I don't like is how people are treated because of that, of what their beliefs are.
Yeah.
I respect your belief, but why won't you respect mine type of thing. So, but yeah,
But those are usually zealots that are like that. People with who are with, I feel like, an open mind.
yeah,
Those people will have more, I guess, empathy is the word, to understanding what someone is saying
yeah,
and maybe what they feel they've gone through. When it comes to like this guy you're talking about, Chris Bledsoe, as far as him being abducted and having these experiences and
yeah.
throughout his life.
Well, not just throughout his, I mean, yes, throughout his life, but um, in these last few years, because he talks about up until the pandemic and that they still communicate with him. And like I said, there's videos his daughter posts up on TikTok
Hmm.
about these things and the videos that they take of these orbs or whatever they see
Hmm.
off in the distance. And they've allowed that to happen because we all know the UFOs don't like to be recorded.
Not in high def resolution.
Yeah, they don't like that, and they, especially when they get out the spaceship, they definitely don't want to be seen. No pictures, please. You know, so yeah, his book is very interesting. I found it very interesting, and I like his story, and I do believe him. I do believe him, and I believe there are several beings on this planet who have infiltrated, and maybe they want to just live a normal life. Maybe they're just run of the mill American, Canadian, European, whatever. And they're living their life, and little do we know that it's that guy we saw in that video where someone attacked him, and his second he was on the ground, but his shadow person came out and was like, "Oh hell no, you ain't robbing me tonight." You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. Or how about the guy that saved, I don't know if it was real or not, but it was a great video where the guy's about to oh no, this I don't know, someone's on a bike or something, and they're in the middle of the road. It looks like the middle of the night, and they're about to get hit by
Oh, that person jets across the street to
yeah,
camp. Yeah,
and saves their
that's
life.
an older code, but it still holds up.
It's great. Like, what if that's real? That kind of thing. And
Hmm.
there's been other videos out there, and if they're manipulating the video, let me tell you, good job. Good job, because wow.
Yeah.
I do
Well,
want
they
to.
are getting better with that, by the way. I mean, look at the deep fakes. I mean, I know you've seen them with Arnold Schwarzenegger's face doing different
I
things.
don't watch that. I don't watch them. When I see that that's what it's about, I don't. I'm
Excuse
not
me.
interested in seeing that.
Deep fakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to also discuss how about us being in a different dimension. I know I've discussed this before. I know I've mentioned this before because maybe we are.
Well, that's what they said would happen when they fired off the Large Hadron Collider.
Mm,
That they did discover something, and it pushed us to a different timeline, dimension, whatever. And that's why all these Mandela effects are happening. Things that we used to see one way now are completely changed, or how we remember them are completely changed.
yeah.
You guys, our two subscribers, they can look those up. They're everywhere. Just type in Mandela effect,
Yeah, they're
and
everywhere.
they'll come up.
Berenstein Bears, Berenstein
Yeah.
Bears.
What's the one with
No
the
dash in the Coca-Cola. There was a dash in the Coca-Cola.
oh
There's a dash in Kit Kat. There's no dash in Kit Kat.
the Pokemon?
Pokemon tail.
Yeah,
Yeah. What's the other one?
I don't know. It's
There's
that monkey
quite a
one. I don't
few.
remember
Oh
what that
yeah,
is.
Curious George had a tail. Curious George doesn't have a tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all of those.
What is it?
Sorry.
Mandela died in prison. Mandela
Yeah,
died free.
that was one that I'm still torn about because I remember hearing that he died in jail.
See, I don't remember him dying in jail. I
I
remember
do.
he got
So
free.
we're from you and I are from different timelines.
Yeah.
Sorry, David.
You're
Sorry.
not on the same
Hold
sync.
on. Sorry, my timeline, David.
But I remember him being freed. When he died, though, I don't remember.
Yeah. No,
But I remember
he died in prison is what I remember hearing.
No, I remember him getting free. I remember it came to like he was in prison for so long. I still don't remember Nelson Mandela's whole history, but I remember as a kid he got out of jail, and it was a big whole thing about it.
Okay, so I'm talking about dimensions. We're talking about different dimensions, timelines, and all of that. So I'm going to go back to where I said, where's the magic? Where's the magic that the Bible was talking about, that these men wrote in these books, talking about creatures as well and different things happening, parting of the sea, the burning bush, and whatever. There's so many things in the Bible, right? And I feel that the veil to all these magical things is being lifted, maybe because we're surfing the timeline or surfing the dimensions, and we're starting to see these videos of these crazy things. One was from, I want to say, some Central America video. They spoke Spanish. I don't want to say where they were from because I don't know. And the lady was floating and they caught it on video. She's floating over the vehicle and gets in front of their house, in front of the vehicle, and like whips her head back, and like it looks crazy.
I don't
And
remember
it
that
looks
one.
real and it looks so good. Like it freaked me out when I watched it. It freaked me out because all right, so
I don't remember that.
So I had a, I hate to say it like that, but I had a best friend. He was from Mexico, and he passed away when he was where we were in our 30s. But he was from Mexico, and him and his parents were very close, and they would go to Mexico all the time, and they'd spend like months at a time. They'd be out there because they have another house out there, and his dad had a ranch. So they'd go out there or whatever. So the dad, he bought a new ranch, and he told him, let's go check it out. And he bought acres of it. And he was keen, he was going to hire people, plant whatever, the whole deal. But there was nothing on it. It was just, the space.
Land.
Yes, just land. And so he went with my friend's mom and his brother-in-law and her sister, and they went to go check out the property. So they started walking the property to check it out, and they had walked a good maybe half a mile, he says, according to his mom. And his mom, I believe his mom, she's not the type of person to lie. She's a very honest, hardworking, like she's a great woman. Yeah, she's a great woman. And so that they had walked a distance from the house, and that off in the distance, like he turned around and he was like, I'm gonna go back to the house. And the brother-in-law's like, yeah, we're gonna go back, we'll be there. And she was with her sister, and they're just walking, and in the distance they see something, and they're like, what is that? And so they see it getting closer, and they're like, whatever. And they see it getting closer, and they're like, oh, it's a person coming over. And they're like, well, what are they doing out here? This is like the middle of nowhere. if you're in Mexico, there's certain like ranches that are just really big and the property's huge and it's cheap out there. So it's easy to buy land and like it's kind of the desert, you know?
Yeah.
So they
It's
see this
undeveloped.
person, yeah, yeah. So they see this person, so they decide to wait. So they're standing there talking and stuff. They're talking, you know, having ideas about what they're going to do with the ranch. And they see this person coming and it's getting closer. They're getting closer and they're getting closer and they're just standing there and they keep looking back and it's just a dark figure. And they don't see anything wrong. They're just like, oh, we'll see what they want, like see what's going on with them. They're by themselves and the guys, they're still on their way back to the house. They could see them in the other direction in the distance.
Yeah.
And so they're waiting and then they notice it's a woman and she's all in black and she's wearing a dress. So they're like, "Oh, she, you know, está de luto," and she's basically mourning. And so they wait still. And they're just waiting and she's getting closer. But they notice that her feet are not touching the ground.
Okay.
She's gliding to them. And the sister's younger, she saw it. And she's like telling her, she was like, you know, she's está volando. She's like, she's flying. And she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, it's a mirage because it's like the
Yeah,
desert,
it's the
right?
desert. Yeah.
It's a mirage. And she's like, no, no, she's gliding. She doesn't have feet, is what the woman's telling her. And she's like, what? And she can't see her well. And she's like, and she thinks she's joking and putting her on. And she tells her, she's like, no, she's gliding, like her feet are not touching the floor, like there's a space. And she's like, no, it's a mirage, like, you know, because the mirage can't do that.
Yeah.
But then as the woman gets closer, they realize her head is hanging to the side and she is gliding towards them. So they run.
I bet they did.
They ran for their lives. And this woman, and according to her, she said as she turned back, she felt like she was just gaining on them. And she's screaming for her husband and her sisters, her brother-in-law, whatever. They're screaming and they're like oblivious to it. And they ran as fast as they could. And by the time they got to the house, the men were already inside and they didn't realize and they didn't hear them screaming at them. And that when they turned around before they got in the house, she was there. Like she was about to grab one of them.
Yeah.
And when they got in the house, she was gone. And that freaked me out when he told me, and then she confirmed it for me. She confirmed it for me, which was worse. And she told me that the lady was wearing very old clothes
Yeah.
from a funeral, like when you're buried, but very old Mexican
Yeah,
style.
tradition,
They wear,
yeah.
the traditional everything and that. But her head hung down to the side, and that she reached out to her, and that she was gliding. She was gliding.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is it all in their minds? How do you see the same thing?
All of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not all of you, the two of them, because the men saw nothing and heard nothing. They didn't even hear them screaming at them because they were running towards the house and the men are still headed in that direction and they don't hear nothing. They heard nothing. They just went in and they saw them go in, but they're still way back here and they're already in the house. So by the time they got to the house, the men were already inside. And that's, you know, when they ran in is when they heard the commotion. They're like, what's going on? Because I was curious. I was asking her all kinds of questions like, well, you know, where was your husband? What did he say? He didn't hear you screaming? Like, it's just, it sounds very far-fetched, but I believe her. Just like I believe my mom has seen things. My mom, she used to tell me stories about what she saw growing up. And
Yeah.
now, like, we're starting to see it on the internet. They're showing all these weird, crazy looking videos of these cryptids. And that's what they call them, because is that what they're called? Because do you really know the name? Do
Yeah.
you really know their name? And there's all these different creatures out here. And yeah. So that I feel that in the whole dimension timeline thing, maybe the veil to that is slowly revealing itself and allowing these creatures to appear and be seen and be videotaped. Because I'm curious to know why people, so there's these cameras for hunting that they put out, and how is it that you haven't caught anything interesting on that? You put them out there to catch images of animals out in the woods or whatever. How is Bigfoot not on there? How is some alien being haven't landed, or even just pointed up to the sky to see what you get? Like, but I know some of them are motion censored or whatever, but even motion censored, why haven't we seen any of that? But we see these other, I don't know, it's very interesting, ring door cameras, that kind of thing.
Well, like I said, all that stuff is starting to become more and more televised because everybody now has some
Yeah,
kind of camera.
it's very
People are
interesting.
getting camera systems
I find
installed
it
in their
very
homes.
interesting.
Look at Tesla. Tesla's a giant freaking dash cam. It's got all these cameras all around it that you can view.
Yes.
So things are being more and more shown. More things are coming up on camera that are unknown and can't be identified or described what it actually
I'm
is.
anxious to go to Death Valley to take my telescope for us to see the Milky Way or whatever they.
So we can be abducted
No,
and taken off planet
no, and be
and show the
probed.
scrolls.
Well,
Why you
they'll
gotta probing? I don't want to be probed.
you gonna be probed. They gonna probe you.
And then look at all these. Sorry, I bumped my mic stand. And then look at all these movies that are coming out with these different things. Like I thought one of the cool ones, topic wise, that movie with Halle Berry. What was it
Oh,
called? What was the name of the
the
movie?
Moon movie.
Yeah.
What was the name of that
Oh my
movie?
god, I'm having a blank moment.
Yeah, so am I. Now I have to look it up.
But anyway,
It
that
was very
movie,
good. That was a
yeah,
good movie. I liked it.
that movie. I like the concept where the moon isn't a moon; it's something else.
Yeah.
And then it's also funny because it had AI technology from another civilization that was actually us, from a distant solar system.
Moonfall.
Moonfall, yes.
Yes, that was a great movie.
Yeah,
I
where
actually loved it.
yeah, that whole story arc and concept, I thought that was really cool, really interesting. Only thing I didn't really like about the movie was the leading man. I don't think he was.
The guy.
Yeah, I don't think he was the guy. That he wasn't that character to me. He could
Yeah.
do it, he could play it, but he wasn't that guy.
No, I get that.
Like I didn't see him.
No, I get that.
But other than that, it was a good movie. Good for me. Like for me, any kind of movie is good as long as I'm entertained. And if I'm not entertained, then if I'm entertained, I can overlook a lot of flaws.
Yeah. I thought it was a good story. Yeah, I thought it was very interesting. Oh, interesting concept about the moon, and because they say that, what was it that?
The moon is in an impractical but perfect position.
No,
orbit.
no. That something exploded on it, and it rang like a bell.
Oh, they shot something at it. And
Yeah.
it rang like a bell. I think they
What
dropped
is
something
wrong
on it.
with us? Why are we shooting shit at the moon?
I don't think we shot something at the moon specifically. I think they discarded something to the moon, and it rang like a bell.
Yeah, because that's sure.
Come on, we
Let's not find out what happened.
look at Bikini Island. We did atomic testing. And I think that's the people that I was talking about earlier.
Does anybody hold on? Does anybody play The Sims or
Our two subscribers. Do
Sim
you have the
Societies?
Sims? Do you do the Sims? Our two
Like
subscribers.
for real, like do you play Sim Societies or Sim City? Right now on PlayStation, it's called City Skyline. Like, does anybody play that? Have you ever played that? And you can just drop bombs on the people and
Aliens.
tornadoes, aliens, yeah, like all of that stuff, and see what happens. And we are pieces of shit because we do that shit. We want to, and then they come to this planet and they want to communicate and they can't because we're hostile as fuck. We're over here shoot. Anybody see the Earth the day the Earth stood still? Yeah, we shot that man when he came out the bubble. Why? Why are you shooting? And I just don't understand. And then we abduct them. We abduct them. We take them and then we test them and we want to. We're horrible, man. We are horrible. I know we can do great things, but we can also do some really fucked up, shitty things. And that is one of those things where we're experimenting on people, on humans, or even other beings. Like they've experimented on us. LSD back in the day, and like to see what happens, and you know, people have died
Montauk.
trying to go to the moon. Like, come on. And I go, it's
Philadelphia
all in the
experiment.
yes, it's all in the name of
Science.
yeah, science and
Gotta get my science
discovery.
on.
And it's I get it. And yes, people volunteer for that, but how about the ones that don't?
Hey, but look,
How about the towns they've destroyed and they lie about that shit and it's all an experiment? I mean, look at COVID.
but look. All of that, bump all that. They experiment on people. How come they ain't making no super soldiers? Where is that experiment at?
How do you know they haven't though? How do you know they haven't? They're not gonna sit here and
We ain't
send
got no
you.
Captain
Hold on, they
America.
ain't gonna send you a letter and be like, David, this is what's going on. We got super soldiers. They're not gonna tell you
I
that
need to
shit.
see Captain America.
Man, come on.
Or Captain China, Captain Russia, Captain Uganda, Captain Spain. We ain't got no captains out here. That's what
No.
I'm saying.
No.
I want to see it.
Remember back in the 80s, everybody wanted to be American and in America, and now everybody's like, get the fuck out of here. Leave. Save yourself. It's crazy.
The
We're
end
living
is
in
near.
for real
The
some
end is
crazy
near.
times. Seriously. But yeah, anyway, so I feel that we're seeing a lot of stuff now, especially because of the cameras, of course, but we're seeing a lot of things that we never would have seen before. I'm waiting for the unicorns to come out. Now, if they're anything like Shazam, holy shit. But
Those are cool.
they were cool.
Just
but
make
like
sure you have some Skittles.
right?
Taste the rainbow.
Spoiler alert. But I don't want to see giants, even though that's all over, you know, social media, showing about the tree trunks that we think are giant rocks. They're actually tree trunks,
Well,
petrified tree trunks.
giants were also in Greek mythology and also in Christian.
Was it a myth though? Is
Also
it Greek
in-
mythology?
Hold
Is
on.
it a myth when there's proof?
Hold on. Also in Christianity or Catholicism, the Bible, they talk about the Nephilim, who are supposed to be giants as well.
Mm-hmm.
You see these certain structures, and it's like, why? Who built this ginormous
Big ass
doorway?
doorway. Who's that for?
Or these big ass?
Is it for the
steps?
giant alien?
Yeah, he's got a big head. It's bulbous. It's got to get through the door.
I feel like we won't ever know the answer to a lot of these questions because either they're not going to tell us in our lifetime, or these questions won't be answered until we're dead and we meet our maker and he's like, yep, yes to all of these, no to all of these.
Well, in regards to aliens in the government, I think that it's still going to be continued denial until We have the Independence Day, or we have the
I'm waiting for
or
that.
wait, we have the Independence Day, or we have
Not that I
the
want it.
Battle of LA, or even Battleship movie until they come and just crash, or even the day the Earth stands
Are you
still.
talking about like Battlestar Galactica or some shit like that?
I don't recall Battlestar Galactica going to Earth, but sure.
I don't know. Oh no! Starship Troopers.
Oh, that's when they gotta shoot. That's when they shoot their stuff at
But they're
us, and
able
then
to
we
go
go.
into their territory.
We don't even have the capability to leave the planet.
I know.
Elon ain't working fast
How are
enough.
we not there yet? But yet, man, come on.
So
And you know what? We probably are. And we just don't know about it because they won't tell us because they don't want to tell us that they're spending our money on creating these.
they gotta
This
figure out how to.
technology
They
and
gotta.
this talk. Look, this technology, this miscellaneous. It's miscellaneous on the list
it's
of
too
things
soon.
they're spending their money on. It's like
It's too
okay,
soon to show them this.
400,000 for advertisements and whatever, and it's like
2 billion for a hammer.
right, 2 billion for miscellaneous, and then everything else checks off. Well, what's miscellaneous? It's all that shit that they can't tell you about. But why can't they tell you? Because it's secret. Well,
matter
I
of
want to know
national
the
security.
fucking secret, motherfucker. That's my money. You're spending my tax dollars on this secret. Tell me the secret. I want to know the secret.
I want
But
some
they
of
don't
this
want to tell the
technology.
secret because they don't want other countries to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. It's just this whole political bullshit. It gets on my nerves because all these people in office are just like me and you and are specks of dust in this fucking universe. And none of that shit matters. All these secrets and bullshit, none of it matters. No one's really gonna ever know how we got here, when we got here exactly, and what we are here for, and what is the meaning of life.
42. And again, until we have, the not Starship Troopers, but Battle LA, where they come to the planet. What is it? Battleship, where they come to the planet. Independence Day 1 or 2, when they come to the planet. Till that has actually happened, where it's undeniable proof. Like, no, I saw that. I saw it out my bedroom window. And so did Clarence down the street, and so did Stephanie down the street. We all saw
It doesn't even
it.
matter anymore because
And wait, and it's just sitting there hovering, and I see the helicopter circling it. So you gonna tell me that's a fraud?
yeah, it's an illusion. It's an illusion.
It's a drone.
It doesn't even matter anymore because there's so much content out there. No one knows what's real anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you see it with your own eyes. And even then it's questionable.
It could be misidentified.
Well, what is it that I have said before? I have said no one sees what you see, even if they see it too.
That is true.
So just because I saw it doesn't mean that you saw it the way I saw it. You may have thought, oh, it's just a blimp. Well, no. Yeah. How did it change shapes and colors? Blimps don't do that. It was a helicopter. There were no blades. What are you talking about? I saw them. No, you didn't, you fucking liar. But
a crazy conversation in your head.
Right? Mm-hmm.
And on that bombshell, I think that's a wrap for today's episode.
Oh, yeah. Don't drink and drive, please. Stop. Don't do that. That's my message for the end of this episode. Don't drink and drive. I don't understand why people still do that, knowing what's going to happen. Think about, if you're not thinking about yourself, that's fine, because we can't tell you what to do with your own body, but think about someone else's life and what you do to them if you go out on the road and hit someone and kill an entire family, or just some young girl or young man or whatever. Old person, it doesn't even matter. It's someone's life, and you're putting not only your life at risk, but their life at risk. And be considerate of others. They have families, they have lives, they have a future that you're stealing from them by drinking and driving. Because what if that happens and you survive? You survive and this person doesn't. There's so many stories like that. And I know regret and I feel bad and all of that, but you could prevent all of that by just not drinking and driving. It's that easy. I don't know what it's like to be addicted to alcohol. I don't really drink so much, but I feel that when I have, I don't want to get behind the wheel. I don't. I don't want to lose everything I've worked so hard for, especially we've worked hard for. We've worked hard to get where we are in life, and I love my life. And I don't want to risk it by putting not only myself in danger, but someone else's life in danger. So that's my message. Don't drink and drive.
All right, and off to the next episode. Peace.